Round 10 of TFL brings us to Imola, Italy. Welcome everyone to the stream. A little bit later than scheduled, but we're finally here ready for Q1. And this track, I think it's a classic on the calendar, back finally after a long time. The Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, as we call it today. And surely known as the Grand Prix of Imola. Formerly known as the San Marino Grand Prix, of course, when it was named after the small state within Italy itself, but now being called on the 2020 and 2021 calendar the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. It's a very hard track to overtake, but I still think it's a really great track to drive on. And I think that will be the best part for these drivers today, to just drive a few of these laps around this magnificent circuit. As we get ready for the few first cars to go out of Q1, first we have to wait for a few cars to complete their hot laps to see who will be in the danger zone in this first part of qualifying. Jerry van Bussel in the Alfa Romeo is the first one to go on his hot lap in just a few moments time. Of course, news with Alfa Romeo this week that Guan Yu Zhou has signed with them for next year alongside Valtteri Bottas, and they are going to propel Alfa Romeo up the grid. At least that's what Frédéric Vasseur is hoping in real life. But now let's look at Jerry van Bussel. He is beginning his hot lap, taking full advantage of the curbs on the left and right hand side at the first chicane, the Tamburello chicane, as we now head into the Villeneuve chicane. I think we'll see some track invalidations there. Yes, that's the first one, as there's a Mercedes of Milan alongside the road. Just letting a few cars by. Joey now, purple in the first sector in his Haas. First car to go out of that first sector valid. And now, oh, that doesn't look as tight as it should be. Joey, the first one to set a lap time here around Imola. Second sector is a 52.0. I think we'll see some 49s there today. I hopefully will see some 49s or at least some 50s after that second sector. But now Joey coming out of the final two corners, going to the finish line now. DRS wide open, and the first lap time is a 1:18.1. Okay, so that's Joey. Now let's look at the AlphaTauri of Kaya, who sits at 1:14.5, just a few hundreds slower than Joey and Mika. Oh no, sorry, than Mika, because Mika is on provisional P1 with a 14.5, Joey at 18.1 in P3, and those are the only lap times as of right now. Joey right now 50.1 after the second sector, opening the DRS now, and it's a 15.1 P3 for the man in the Aston Martin, as Ecos Ferrens now goes a 14.0 provisional P1, fastest of any driver as of yet. Then Joey's teammate Hones, if you've watched this channel for a little bit longer, you might know him from earlier. He participated in a few races earlier this season and last season, of course. Then Yagizan now coming towards the finish line. He will set a 1:14.8. It puts him P4 on the grid as of now, as Jerry van Bussel goes a 14.8, now not invalidated, as the McLaren of Davy is on his hot lap. His teammate Damiano is currently not here. He is joining this session later, and because he is joining later, he has to retire from qualifying because of a bug in the game, so he'll definitely start from last place on the grid. And it's purple sector 1 for the championship leader. Davy, currently leading the championship, 18 points ahead of his championship rival Black Box in the Mercedes, who's currently P18 because he's in the pits as of now. And Davey has said this is definitely not his best track on the game. And sets 49.7 after the second sector. So there is the first 49 that we saw as of today. Davey said it wasn't his best track on the game. So I'm curious what Black Box can do if this is not Davey's best track. And now the Ferrari of Janssen going into his hot lap, and Davey going P4, 14.6 behind Kaya, Mika and Ferenc. Ferenc still in provisional P1. And let's look at Kaya. He's crossing the line once again, goes P2. Increases by his lap time by 1/10 of a second, so he's 1/10 faster than he was before. So that puts him P2 on the grid, just ahead of Mika. And Ball now is starting his hot lap in P14. Let's go on board with Ball. Ball, your winner from the Belgium Grand Prix some time ago, would dearly like to win one race once again. Comes onto the track behind Steph, and Steph in the way of Ball. OSS contact. Ball making contact with Steph. Hopefully that doesn't result in a grid penalty for any of the drivers. Some dangerous driving from Ball, but Steph was on the racing line for Ball's hot lap. So Ball not going for another hot lap in this lap. So let's look on board with somebody who's now going for a hot lap, and that is Meneer van den Bergen, as Ferenc has retired in the pit lane, thinking his 14.0 is good enough to go through to Q2. And in the danger zone at the moment, Black Box, Steph and Sven. But remember, they haven't set a lap time as of yet, and Meneer van den Bergen goes around and into the gravel trap, hitting the curb at the Villeneuve chicane, causing him to spin. And that's something we'll see hopefully not happen. Oh, Lars also off, and he breaks his front wing. That was some timing to go to Lars, but his front wing is now off. He has to return to the pit lane. So let's look on board with Steph. Steph had the little moment of contact with Ball. Hopefully that doesn't have any impact on his lap, on his confidence levels, so that he might be able to put a lap together good enough for Q2. Of course, last time out in Portimao, he was not able to get out of Q2 and was even alongside his teammate on the last two positions of the grid after the first lap. So Steph now, with this lap, he'll most certainly be out of the bottom 3, because 16th position, 17th position and 18th position will be knocked out. But that is solely on the fact that there haven't been enough drivers who set a valid lap time. And so won't Steph. Steph also has invalidated this lap time. So Steph not setting a valid lap, as Ball has gone P10. Let's go on board with SHZ Koen in the Red Bull. He has devalidated his lap at the Variante Alta, as we saw Steph do a few months ago. So Koen in the Red Bull, new driver in the league. What can he do exactly today? As Joey goes P5 in the Aston Martin. Koen goes P11 with a 15.3. As Yagiza now goes P6, 14.705. Oh, Black Box is also on a hot lap. Oh, Black Box jumped to P3. So he finished his hot lap. He's now in P3. Okay, so our championship contender, Black Box, now in P3, with this rival in P5. Okay, so that will be interesting for the race. If they can qualify as close to each other as they are now. Mika has retired in P4, so he thinks he's safe as well. And looking at Steph, he is on for another hot lap. Might get a tow, a little bit of a tow from his teammate. Yes, he is getting a little bit of a tow from Joey. Steph now goes P5. P5 for Steph. Now, so that's a lap time he'll most certainly be into Q2 with. And might Joey's slipstream helps him a little bit with it. Of course, it is allowed in the league. As Milan is crossing the circuit, that is definitely not allowed in an in-lap or an out-lap. So Milan will be noted to the stewards. Milan's actions will be noted to the stewards, and let's see what they will decide. As he now goes for a hot lap. He's in P9 at the moment, 14.762, as the Ferrari comes out of the pit lane. That's the Ferrari of Janssen in P12 at the moment. As once again, Milan has invalidated his lap time. You can see it in the bottom right-hand corner. The Imola map is red, so he has invalidated his lap and has to go again. And who also have to go again are Hones and Lars. And Hones is now going for his hot lap. The Aston Martin now on his hot lap, replacing Julian and Juxel. Both Hones and Joey, they are not able to be with us tonight. And that certainly means Julian is out of the championship battle, because he was almost 50 points behind Davy, our championship leader. And with after Imola only 2 rounds left, he isn't able to make up the deficit. So Julian out of the championship fight, and the only drivers that can win the championship now are Blackbox and Davy, with Blackbox 18 points behind Davy. But let's look at what Hones can do in this Aston Martin of Julian. 50.2 after the second sector, so he'll probably head for 14.5, 14.7. And coming up to the finish line now, he hasn't invalidated his lap. It looked like he crossed the white line. It will be a 15.2, losing some time in the final sector, as Davy now is going into the pit lane. So the McLaren is into the pit lane and has retired. He thinks he's safe, and he has retired. And we saw Joey crossing the line. Start finish, he'll try to go for another lap in the Haas. So let's go on board with the Haas driver. P11 at Zandvoort. Every time he did not score points, but he did finish a race. He was P11 in a race, and the only times that he wasn't P11 in the race is where he scored points. So when he doesn't score points, he's P11. Let's see if that holds true for tonight, or if Joey can score some more points. He's P17 at the moment, because Lars has set the lap time, as Jagizon has retired from the session in P7. Joey now 4.5 tenths slower than he was previously, and he has invalidated his run. Sven, meanwhile, in the pit lane, still hasn't set a lap time. And let's create a party, because I can see I'm still within the game chat. For every driver that can hear me at the moment, good luck for the rest of this session. Okay, see, so we joined a party. Koen, he's still trying to improve. He was 2.5 tenths faster after the first sector, and is now 3.5 tenths faster than he was previously. And he has now invalidated his run at the Variante Alta, so he's out of this run. And so is Ball. Ball not continuing his run, probably made a mistake somewhere in the lab, presumably Aqua Minerale, where he just came out of. And on track, Jurgen Bussel with his teammate Sven still in the pit lane. He's P18 at the moment. And it looks like it's getting a bit cloudy here in Imola. What might the weather do today? Will it rain in the race? Might it stay dry, or might it rain in quali? Okay, so Jerry on his outlap is now going for a hot lap once again. And he's onto the power now. 7th gear, DRS wide open and going over start finish now to go for another hot lap. He has a 14.862 now. Can he go and improve his lap time? Hitting the apexes nicely at the Tamburello chicane. Now going to the Villeneuve chicane. Turning in just after the 50-meter board, and that looked like a pretty tight run. And he's 2/10 faster than he was before. So that's a nice run from the Alfa Romeo driver. Purple in the first sector according to the map, but I don't think that's true. Nice run through the Piratella corner. And now to Aqua Minerale he goes. Just cruising down and onto the power now. With as little bit as an oversteer moment as possible. After the first sector, he improved his lap time. After the second sector, it's true still. He is improving. And he might go a few positions up. Let's look. I think he'll go right around P3, P4, maybe even faster if he can get the third sector right. Now crossing the line, goes P4. 14.4 for Jurgen Bussel. That's a good lap time for the Alfa Romeo driver. And there are a few cars on track still. Milan is on track. The Mercedes driver teammates of Black Box has a really hard task in beating his teammate this season, but at some points in the season has done it. Last time out in qualifying at Portimao, he crossed the line and was fastest, but in the race he just couldn't. Oh, as he now finishes his run, he could have just crossed the finish line, but he didn't. Last time out in Portimao, he just got the pole position, but in the race he fell away and had a collision, I think with Meneer van den Berg it was. As we now look at Lars, so he made a mistake. I think he's out of qualifying. Sven did not set a lap time. He has joined back into the session. He just disconnected, it looks like it. But he wasn't able to set a lap, so he's out of qualifying. Lars is out of qualifying, and Joey is out of qualifying. So, the three drivers that are out are the usual suspects, really. A Williams, a Haas, and an Alfa Romeo. But it's Sven, Joey, and Lars who are out in qualifying. And hopefully for them, they are able to keep a little bit better up with the pack in the race. I'm sure Sven will go for a last to first challenge, as everyone has it in pit lane. Jerry van Bussel, Sven's teammate, nicely in P4. Now getting ready for Q2. As we get reports that the weather is staying dry. So it is a dry session. And now we wait for the session to end. And next time out in Q2, there will be 5 drivers who will be eliminated. And the 10 drivers through to the top 10 shootout will have to start their race on the tire compound that they have used in Q2. But all that in a few moments' time. Let's look at the leaderboard now. It's Ferenc in P1, 3.5 faster than Kaya. Kaya closely followed by Blackbox in P3, with Jerry van Bussel also not too far behind. Then it's Mika, Davy, and Steph also very close behind, and then it's a bit of a gap to the Turkish driver of Yagizan. Still in with a shot of the title, but his chances are very slim at the moment. But he's still in. Then it's Joey in P9. P10, it's Luc Jansen. Then Milan in P11, Koen in P12, Meneer van den Bergen in P13, Hoons in P14, and Ball in P15. And the cars that have been eliminated, Lars, Simic. Then it's Joey in P17 and P18. Sven did not have a chance to go out in Q1. Okay, so let's get ready for Q2. And meanwhile, if you're watching the stream, let's predict who's going to be on pole position for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Post it in the comments and we'll look if you are right. Okay, so we're getting comments in the comment section as well that it isn't going to rain and it is staying dry. Joey, eliminated in Q1, says that he definitely won't be on pole, and that's one thing I can agree upon. I think he won't be on pole position for this race. As Joey reveals that he has been driving his entire Q1 without any ERS, so maybe if he had some ERS, he might have been able to get to the fringes of Q2, as the Alpine and the Mercedes are now going out. But Joey, hopefully in the race he can do a bit better. And unfortunately he's now out of qualifying. As we look to Milan on the medium compound. So he's trying to get through to Q3 on the medium tires, which of course sets you on the alternate strategy for the race. Looking at the entire rest of the field, we have Yagizan, Bol and Hoons, who are not trying the medium tires, and everyone else on the medium compound. So that's interesting, because if everyone is trying to set a lap time on the medium compounds, everyone will have to defend their run at the end of the session. And that might bring some spectacular results at the end of Q2. Let's look on board with Milan in the Mercedes. He has had some moments of brilliance in TFL, and hopefully we'll see another one today. Last time out, of course, as we said already, in Portimao, taking pole position. Might he be able to get through to Q3? A little bit of Milan magic here at TFL. Is he able to put the run together? So let's go on board with Milan. Now going to the Tamburello chicane, hitting the curb on the right hand side and hitting those yellow sausage curbs a bit on the entry. Then going to the Villeneuve chicane after the 50 meter board, turning in and turning to the right hand side, not taking the track limit, and now to the Tozar hairpin. Accelerating out, little grip, but he manages to get through pretty easily. Now going to Piratella, a fast corner, over 200 kilometers per hour. And now Acqua Minerale, awesome corner to drive, and he's coming up to the back of Meneer van den Bergen. Might be able to get a little bit of a slipstream on the main straight. Purple second sector, so he is gaining on the Alpine driver. You can just see the gap shrinking and shrinking. And this distance, going towards the final couple of corners of the circuit, the Rivazza corners, he is getting a little bit of a slipstream from the Alpine driver. Now once again in the slipstream going towards the line on the medium tire, Milan is able to set a 15.3, and that is surely not a lap time that is able to stand when you factor in the soft runners. It's a 15.2 for Steph, nice lap time from the Haas driver on the medium tire, and that's the Aston Martin of Joey going now P3. Then Black Box behind Ball as he goes P3. Black Box can go 15.5, goes P4 behind his teammate, and then it's the Ferrari of Ferrans of 14.9 on the medium tires in provisional P1. Janssen also on the medium tires, going a bit off at Aqua Minerale, but not getting a track invalidation. 50.3 after the second sector. And now onto the power and down towards the Rivazza corners he goes in the Ferrari, the scarlet red Ferrari, the number 2 Ferrari, going left and once again left for the final corner on the track. And on towards the power, little bit of oversteer moment, but now going towards the line as he sets a 15.6, goes P8 on the medium tires. Yagizan into the pit lane on the soft tires. No, he's not in the pit lane, he's just waiting before Piratella corner. Jerry van Bussel has invalidated his run, he's trying to go for another run, as Hoons is on a run. I think Davey is setting another run as well. So let's look on board with Hoons and then to Davey. Nice run through Piratella, now Aqua Minerale. Place where you can get easy track limits, and accelerating out of the corner might cause some moments of disturbance in the airflow in your car, so it might be hard to keep the car on track. Now going towards the final 2 corners, the Rivazza corners. Hoons now braking and turning left. No track invalidation. He was close to one. Onto the power, he is on the soft tire, so might he be able to go pole position? Yes, he is able to go P1, not pole position of course, because it's for Q3, as Davey immediately sets P3 on the medium tires, a few 100ths of a second down from Ferrans, so he, on the medium tires, set a pretty good lap time. But I'm sure, as Koen now goes for another lap on the medium tire, I'm sure that a lot of drivers can easily go faster on the softs. As a big, there's a big tire difference. Oh, as Koen goes off into the grass, and he has invalidated his run at the Tamburello chicane. Just a delta between the soft and the medium compound at the track, just absolutely huge. And you can see Hoons suddenly going towards the top of the timing sheets. After in Q1 not really having set impressive lap times. That might mean that all cars are now going into the pit lane, switching to a set of the red-walled soft tire. And Jagizan is one of the drivers doing that. He is now coming out of the pit lane on the soft tires. He was already out on the soft tires, as we saw a few laps ago. As Sven has left the session, there might be some more problems with his connection. And only if Davey scores a minimal amount of points. I think the situation was that if Jagizan now is outscored by Davey with any amount of points, or does not gain on Davey by any amount of points, Jagizan is out of the championship. But let's hope for Jagizan that he can score some good points today, because we know he has the pace and he is a very fast driver. As he is now on his outlap with the soft compound tire. Milan, I think, is on hot lap as well. Yes, he is on hot lap. He's on a soft wall tire, the red walled soft tire. So let's see if he can go provisional P1 with those tires. He's only 5/10 down on provisional P1 at the moment, as Sven has joined back into the session, but now is on the faster compound. And he is almost 1 second faster. Now, going through the Variante Alta off track is not getting him a track limit. He went off the power, so he lost a little bit of time there. But still, these tires giving you such an advantage. Still, at the end of the lap, he might still be quickest of all, and he does. A 14.1, 7 tenths faster than Hones was previously. Yagizan, he's on a soft tire as well. What can he do? Can he go provisional P1 now and take it from the Mercedes driver? Purple Sector 2, 49.7. And he's not invalidated his run, so I think this will definitely be good enough for P2. It might be good enough for P1. But let's see. Going out of the last Revazza, and now towards the line he goes. It's a 14.7, 6 tenths down, almost 5 tenths down on Milan in P2. Okay, now Koen is also trying to go for another medium run, so he wants to get through to Q3 on the mediums. No, he's coming into the pit lane now. Janssen on the soft tire as well. Validated his run. And a lot of cars still in the pit lane. Steph, I think, is also going back into the pit lane, or will he go for another lap? Yeah, he will go back into the pit lane. Let's go on board with Janssen. He's now trying to go for a lap on the soft tires. There are only a few minutes left in this session. 4 minutes to be precise. Left in this Q2 session is still a lot of cars in the pit lane, as Milan is retired from the session. He thinks he's safe in P1 on the soft tires, so he will start the race on the soft tires if he qualifies within the top 10. I think he's safe for that top 10 starting position. But his teammate Blackbox currently isn't safe. Janssen is trying to set his lap time on the soft tire, but looking at his teammate, I think Ferenc in P5, fastest in Q1, and now is out on track in Q2. I think he is on the soft tire, as Janssen has invalidated his run. Let's go to Ferenc. Ferenc is on the soft tires, yes, so he's on the softs, trying to qualify for Q3. Doesn't think he's safe on the medium tires, so we'll go out once again on the soft tires. He's improving by 5 tenths of a second. That's currently not good enough for P1 to beat Milan. Going through the Revazza corners, I think he'll gain some time in the final sector, and now goes P1. Let's look at the timing sheets. He will go P1, and it's the first 1:13 we've seen. A 1:13.998. Good lap time by Ferenc, and is now P1 in the session. Joey also improving his lap time. More than 6 tenths of a second. He's currently in P14. Might go as far up the grid as P8, P7, P6 if I'm looking at the lap times. Davey also on his outlap, and Hodes and Steph still in the pit lane. Joey goes P4. He even beats his Hones, his teammate. As Mika, also on the run, is now in P8. Hitting the curve nicely. Coming out of Aqua Minerale. 5 tenths of a second improvement. That will put him P2. No, P3. Just faster than Yagizon. But he will gain some time in the final sector due to the soft tires. Not invalidating his run, opening the DRS, and he goes P3, 14.2, almost beating Milan in the process. And now let's look at the championship leader, Davy. He is in P8 with a 114.9. If he can improve by 1 second, he will be 0.005 of a second faster than Ferrans in the Ferrari. But the question is, can Davy improve by 1 second? Not getting a track limit and only 28,000 of a second faster than he was previously in the first sector on the medium tires. So not the best run through the first sector. Now through Piratella, missing the apex, going off the power, and I think this has become more survival rather than setting a good lap time as he goes off track, even losing more time. He is lucky he did not invalidate his run. It looks like a clumsy run for the McLaren driver. He's in P9 now. Can he improve to such an extent that he is safe for Q3? Ferrans has retired in the pit lane, as it has done Milan and Jagizan, and Davy goes into the pit lane. Davy is out of qualifying in P11. Davy out of qualifying. That's a shock. So the championship leader starting outside the top 10 and his championship rival starting within the top 10. He is in P5. As Kaya is also out, Ball is out, Koen is still trying to improve, as is Janssen. Janssen the first to cross the line in the Ferrari. He's improving by 0.5 of a second. So will he knock Davy even farther down, and will he knock Meneer van den Bergen into the danger zone? Janssen goes P5 and Meneer van den Bergen is now P11. Meneer van den Bergen though still on track and has retired on track. And he is out of the qualifying session. Koen now crossing the line and is P6. He knocks Steph into the bottom 5, but Steph still on a lap can still knock Hones out of qualifying. Can he improve and knock Hones back into the bottom 5? Steph is going for a Q3 appearance. Can he do that here around Imola? He can. Hones has been knocked out of qualifying alongside Meneer van den Bergen, Davy, Kaya and Ball. Ball also a surprise to me because he has shown some great pace at some races but now is out of qualifying. And fastest in qualifying is Ferrans, followed by Jerry van Bussel in the Alfa Romeo. Good lap time from Jerry. And Milan in P3 going good job. Just 6,000 of a second slower than Jerry. Then it's Mika Janssen. Good effort from him. Ferrari looking strong here around Imola at their home track. But some shocking eliminations here in Q2. But that gives them the opportunity to start on the medium or the hard tire instead of the soft tire that they would have completed their laps on. Okay, so it's Ferrans with a 1:39.98, the first and only driver into the 1:13s. Good effort by Ferrans. But now let's head to Q3 and see who's going to be on pole position this afternoon here at Imola for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. And post in the comments, who do you think is going to be on pole position? Just take a guess and post it in the comment section. Who do you think is going to take pole position here today? My guess is that it will be Ferrans who is on pole position. Alongside him, Milan, and then it's Black Box for Mercedes 2-3. Making it a very entertaining battle, at least, to watch for the championship, with Davy starting outside the top 10. As Meneer van den Bergen is now loading And we are still waiting for him. And hopefully Meneer van den Bergen will load shortly. Oh, Meneer van den Bergen has left the session and hopefully we'll start. I think we'll start the session now. Yes, we will start the session. Okay, so we are into Q3. And we are waiting for the cars to go out on track. And to see who's going to take pole position today. The AlphaTauri of Yagizan, first car to go out of the pit lane, so let's go on board with Yagizan. And he is now out on his outlap, trying to go for pole position here at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. So, EFR A Stefano in the comments, because he's asking, where do you think I'm gonna finish? I did not even recall him being in the qualifying session. But what is your PSN, Stefano? Or will you join the session later? As we wait for Yagzon to cross the line. Of course, IFR Stefano is IFRA Steph. My apologies. Yeah, he had a good qualifying up to now, so I think Stefano might be able to get top 5. I'm going for a top 5 finish. And hopefully he is able to get the best result in qualifying. Yagizan now on his lap, attacking the curbs heavily in the first sector with Tamburello chicane, and now going towards the Villeneuve chicane, turning in after the 15-meter board, hitting the apex on the right hand side, not getting any validation on the left hand side. Now towards the Tosa hairpin and a bit of a lock up on the left front tire, but now it's full on the power towards the Piratella corner, going left a little bit over 200 kilometers per hour, and now towards Aqua Minerale he goes, hit the curb on the right hand side, and once again on the right hand side and accelerating out, no moment of oversteer, and now ending the second sector with a 49.5. Oh, going over the curbs at the Variante Alta, just losing his car, still going to complete his lap. It looked like a tight lap up till that point, but now towards the final corners, the Rivazza corners, hitting the apex on the left hand side, not getting any validation, once again hitting the apex nicely, and now it's full throttle towards the finish line. DRS wide open, and it's a 14.7 for the first lap of Yagizan. Then it's Jerry van Bussel, goes 14.3, provisional P1. Then Black Box goes to 14.4 in P2, and in front of us is the Haas of Steph, goes to 14.4, and Yagizan still in P4 with Janssen in P5, now going for another hot lap as Ferenc rather impressively 13.998, the same lap time as he did before, as Steph is out of qualifying. He hit the wall. Oh no, Steph hit the wall after the Tamburello chicane. There he is, and he is out of qualifying, so he has a 114.4. He is currently top 5, but I think some cars will be able to overtake Steph, as the Red Bull of Koen is now going past Janssen and Mika nicely in P2. But Steph, a big shock, out of qualifying, as now Black Box I think, set another lap time. Or was it Jagizon? I think it was Jagizon. He's now in P4. Black Box heads into the pit lane. Koen invalidated his run, so this won't be a run that counts for him. As Joey is now in P7, just behind Steph, who is out of qualifying. As Black Box and Milan head back into the pit lane. Koen, once again on a hot lap, but this hot lap is invalid as well. You probably got the message. This and next lap invalidated due to track limits. But as of yet, it is Ferens on provisional pole with Mika behind. Jerry van Bussel, really good position in P3. Jagizon in P4. Black Box in P5, and it's Steph in P6, then Joey in P7. So we have two Joeys, one Joey at the back of the grid in the Haas, and the other Joey, Joey RC, in the Aston Martin. Just for the confusion. Joey is now going into the pit lane. Koen is going into the pit lane as well, I think, because he does not have any fuel whatsoever. So Milan heads back onto the track. Oh, Milan, I don't think you're allowed to do that. Once again, under investigation. Yes, he is under investigation for cutting the track in his outlap. So Milan under investigation by the stewards. Damiano has joined into the session. He hasn't completed any lap whatsoever validated, so that means he needs a valid run, and there's nothing you can do at the moment with his extending the track, but I think in the rulebook there is a section really explicitly calling out that cutting on your outlap or your inlap is not allowed, and that he will get penalized for his actions made in qualifying. So let's look what he can do. Oh no, he lost the car and now needs to return to the pit lane for another hot lap. Let's go on board the Jagizon, Turkish driver in the AlphaTauri, as I think made a mistake and went off track for a moment. Jagizon, first one of the runners going on their second run to go out onto the track. Looking at the predictions made in the comment section, I don't think there has been anyone in the comment section making a prediction. So predict the positions in the comment section. Who do you think is going to be on pole position? And for the fun of it, just predict P2 and P3 as well. So I think it will be Ferens, and then Milan and Black Box, as I said before. But Jagizon now going on his second hot lap, a bit early if you ask me, but still that might be an advantage to him, because he does not have a track where there are a lot of cars around him. That looked pretty tight as he has invalidated his run. He now goes off the power and waits for the finish line to go on another hot lap, so he will go for another run. Joey is currently on another run in P7. Improving by only 3/10 of a second might mean that going from P7 to P3 is possible. So that is an improvement that Joey most dearly would like to see. He's not on a hard lap anymore. Koen is currently on another hard lap. He's in P10 and would dearly like to overtake Milan. Milan's still in the pit lane, and hopefully for him has a chance of making it for another attempt at a hot lap. I think he's still in the pit lane and will go for another lap. So Milan, no, he is moving in the pit lane, so I think he will try to go for another hot lap, but does he have enough time to complete his out lap? Koen now crossing the line and is in P3, a 14.2. Awesome lap time by Koen. He's in P3, and that is a good lap time for the Red Bull driver. Is now Black Box is trying to go for a run. He's in P6 at the moment with his teammate down in P10. Can Black Box improve to go onto the front row or even pole position here today? He goes a bit wide, but is he improving? No, he's 2 attempts down on his previous attempt, so he is not improving as of now. Who might be improving though is Jagizan. No, Jagizan has abandoned his lap. Jari van Bussel invalidated his run, and the Ferrari of Ferrens is currently on a run. I think he's improving, but he's still going. So let's wait to see what Ferrens can do. Can Ferrens go any faster here on provisional pole? He's in P1 at the moment. Jagizan has retired. As Ferrens goes at 13.7, improves his lap time by a few tenths of a second. As Mika closely behind, 13.8. So closely matched here. Just improve at the line. An awesome lap time. As Black Box now goes to the finish line. Didn't improve, but is going for another run. Is in P8 at the moment. Koen crossing the finish line now. Is not improving. So his old tires are not giving him more lap time. Found. Black Box is trying to go for another run. This is do or die for the Mercedes driver. Janssen has retired. Is in P4. Good effort from him. As all cars nicely get out of the way. Mika gets out of the way. Awesome performance by the Alpine driver. And Black Box still has a chance to improve his lap time by a long shot. He's in P8 now. I think he has the ability to go onto the front row. He is improved by 2 tenths of a second. Nice run through the Variante Alta. 2 tenths of a second might put him on P3, but there's still an entire last sector to go. His teammate Milan is now crossing the finish line in just a few seconds time. So let's look at Milan. Milan goes P5, cannot go higher up the grid than P5. Black Box goes P3 and is on the second row of the grid alongside Koen in the Red Bull. And it's pole position for Ferrens. Nice job from the Mercedes driver, for the Ferrari driver, excuse me. And Mika in the Alpine P2. Awesome job by the Alpine driver. And his Black Box championship protagonist in P3. Good job. Koen, nice debut in TFL P4. Then it's Janssen in P5. Maybe a bit of a redemption for his last outing at Portimao, where he ran out of fuel. He definitely wants to do better today. Milan, a bit disappointing in P6. Jari van Bussel, I think he had more time on the table. He's in P7. I don't think he's happy with the result, looking at the results he had in the previous qualifying sessions. Your 1, 2, 3, Ferrens, Mika, Black Box. And the lap time set by Ferrens at 1:13.742. Great effort for the Ferrari driver. Mika closely behind, 72 thousandths of a second. And Steph in P10, just over 7 tenths of a second slower. And behind Milan, it's Jerry van Bussel that we covered, but Joey in P8, P9 it's Jarizan, and P10 it's Steph. So Steph into Q3, but in P10. It's the least ideal position to be in. But still, anything can happen here in TFL. As we wait for all the cars to get ready for the race. I think Meneer van den Bergen has joined back into the race. It's a bit overcast here at Imola. But looking at the weather report given to me by the other drivers, it is a dry race. As we just wait for the cars to get ready. In just a few moments time. 1 second and we are getting ready for the formation lap here at Imola. Okay, so tire strategy. Starting on the soft compound. The one stop looks like the fastest stop onto the hard compound. The 2 stop has been recommended, but that is a very difficult strategy to use here at Imola. Just because of the fact that, one, this is a pretty small track where the tire advantage is not as big as you might expect it to, as Meneer van den Bergen has left the session once again. And number 2, the pit lane is extremely long here at Imola, so that doesn't promote the 2 stop at all. I think the pit times are just around the 30-second mark. As Steph has been disqualified from the formation lap, that means his tires will be very cold while being on the grid. And let's look at the tire compounds in use. Okay, so everyone outside of the top 10 is in either mediums or softs, and the only drivers on the softs are Meneer van den Bergen, Joey, and Sven. Okay, so they are all on the soft compound, and the rest is all on the medium tire. As we now look to the track, few drivers now getting to the grid. Ferrans in his number 97 Ferrari is going towards his grid spot and will be the first of the cars to get ready for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Steph is already on the grid and the other drivers will now take their positions. We get ready for 32 laps of action around Imola. Who do you think is going to win the Grand Prix? Please post in the comment section who do you think is going to win. The final Red Bull is now getting to the back of the grid. We wait for the 5 lights to go on right now as we look to the 5 lights for 5 lights on. As the lights are out now, Mika gets not as good of a start as Black Box. Black Box is in P2, already ahead of Mika. Ferrans into the lead, and the Red Bull of Koen is alongside Mika and ahead of Mika. Mika having an absolutely terrible start, and it's Ferrans from Black Box, from Koen, from Mika, and still Janssen battling with Mika as well, but Janssen overtaken by the Aston Martin of Joey, and now going onto the gravel. The Ferrari having an absolutely terrible start and going down to P10 as Hoons and Borrell are still battling. And now Hoons overtaken by Davy. Davy already up into P12 going through Piratella. Looking at the front of the grid as there's yellow flags. I think that's Skaya as Mika spun around. Mika is out. He's onto the wrong Oh, guys, there's a lot of collisions here as Steph and Joey are making contact with each other. I was looking for the choice of words, and while I was doing that, all the cars were colliding with each other. Still yellow flags, but no safety car as of yet. Farron sets the fastest lap time of any driver. Steph trying to get past Holmes in P10. As Davey made his way up into the points paying positions in P9. But that was a rather eventful start as there's contact between the Aston Martin. What are these guys doing? They make contact. And Steph onto the gravel. Oh, guys. Lars in P13. Joey overtaking his teammate now. And that was a rather really eventful start here at Imola. And Black Box chasing down Ferrans for the lead of the race. Black Box still keeping within the DRS window. He is pushing a lot of ERS, but still... Ferrans in the lead on 40% of ERS. Black Box on 33% of ERS, and looking at Koen, he's on 70% of ERS, but already well outside the DRS range. And that DRS becoming active in the third lap. Milan, meanwhile, in the Mercedes, also in P4, as Ferrans now sets the fastest lap, immediately beaten by Black Box in P2. And now the DRS is enabled, and you can just see the gap from Black Box to Ferrans. Black Box putting Ferrans on the massive pressure here, and Black Box looking at a chance of gaining back some points in the championship battle. Black Box though losing some time, and the Villeneuve chicane is sector 1. Definitely not his favorite sector, as there's a pass of Steph Round on track as he's now out of the session, and there's a virtual safety car here at Imola. Okay, so Black Box in P2 chasing down Ferrans. Davey, championship rival to Black Box in P9. Meneer van den Bergen out. Steph is out of the session, but is ghosted on track. Kaya back on the circuit. Let's look at the different tires. I think Kaya did not pit. He's in P17. Let's look at Black Box, because he is the car behind Ferrans, and now the DRS has been enabled. Black Box using the DRS. Steph has joined back into the session. It looks like Black Box is out of this 1 second. Looking at the ERS of Ferrans and Black Box, they are both trying to push as hard as possible to get away from the pack. And Ferrans trying to push to get Black Box out of the DRS range. Black Box trying to push the cup within the DRS range, and both not having a lot of ERS left. Who is having a lot of ERS though is Koen in P3. Good start from the Red Bull driver from P4 to P3 because of the spin of Mika. And looking at Mika, he is making some moves. Just made a move on the Haas of Joey, and now Davey and Joey are battling the other Joey. Can Davey overtake the Aston Martin? As Lars and Mika are battling as well. Davey does have DRS on Joey. Joey going a bit wide, reminiscent of Bottas going wide in 2020 2 times in that race. Of course, he had floor damage in that particular race. No floor damage whatsoever from Joey, as Milan goes for a move for P3. Milan in P3 overtakes Koen, and still Davey stays behind Joey for now. But looking at Koen, he is trying to apply the pressure as Ball is out. Ball is out at the Tamburello chicane, and there's a full safety car because of the crash from Ball. Okay, so full safety car here at Imola. Will the soft runners, go into the pit lane to box for the hard tires? That is the question. And as there are now 5 laps plus some qualifying laps in Q2 on these tires, it's Ferrari and P1, then it's P2 and 3 for both Mercedes drivers. So in the Constructors' Championship they will gain on McLaren. Damiano not in the race at the moment, and Damiano is in the race, but he's in a Red Bull. Did not have the choice of choosing a car, and Black Box is into the pit lane, as is Koen and Jerry van Bussel. So they are gambling for a different strategy. Black Box going onto the medium compound, and looking at all drivers, a lot of drivers going into the pit lane. I think Black Box will come out around P6, 7 when Lars overtakes him, Damiano overtakes him, and Kaya overtakes him as well. So Black Box out in P8, Koen in P9, Jerry van Bussel in P10. Then it's Yagizan, P11, Jansen P12, Joey P13. Davey also boxing, he's on the hard compound. Then it's Mika on the mediums, Joey boxing, as well as his teammate. Joey on the mediums, is Steph on the soft tires, but he is still out on track, trying to recover the lap time that he lost with his AI. He is going into the pit lane. Joey in P17 is going into the pit lane. Now looking at Ference. Ference on the soft tires hasn't made his pit stop. Is this the moment in the race where the race is won or lost for the Ferrari driver, with his rivals for the win in this race just all boxing? Except for Milan, he was in P3. Sven, coming from last on the grid, is now in P3. Second to last on the grid, because of course Damiano started last on the grid. But an awesome recovery for the Alfa Romeo driver, and suddenly it is Sven who's the lead Alfa Romeo driver instead of Jerry van Bussel, as Davey once again heads into the pit lane. He is trying to go for the medium tires now. So switched to the hard compound, immediately went back into the pit lane trying to go for the mediums, realized his mediums weren't the his hards weren't the tire to be on. And only 3 drivers in the entire field on the soft tires, and the rest of the cars all on mediums. If they can make the mediums last until the end of the race, the drivers that just pit under the safety car might have a real good chance of scoring some good points in this race. It also means Ference really has to put the power down and put in some stunning laps to just keep the lead after pitting, but I don't think that's possible, even the most magical laps, because of the length of the pit lane. Well, still waiting for the safety car to go in because of Steph. Steph has a big gap until he gets to the back of the pack, in this instance being our championship leader Davey in P16. So we're waiting for Steph, and when Steph comes to the back of the pack, they will go, because at that moment in time the safety car will head into the pit lane. And confirmation that the safety car is still out on track. Looking at the onboard of Ference. still, the number 97 Ferrari is leading the race. And Milan just had to stay out, didn't he, on the soft tires, because his teammate Black Box was in P2, Milan in P3. If they were to double stack, they would lose so much time. And so it would have been the best thing for Milan to stay out. But if the medium tires will last until the end of the race, he will lose a lot of time when he makes his pit stop. Steph, meanwhile, is at the back of the pack. So I think we'll go again in just a few moments' time. And that notification should come at any moment now. Just a few seconds. Yes, the safety car is in this lap. So, Ferrans has control of the field. And Milan behind is warming his tires up as well. Sven might have a shot here at taking P2 from Milan. If Ferrans times it absolutely right for the Alfa Romeo driver. Looking at the onboard of Ferrans. He isn't going on the power as of now. But he is going on the power now. He is activating his ERS. And Ferrans has gone. And looking behind, Sven isn't able to make the move on Milan. Milan trying to gain on Ferrans is not able to make the move. But Damiano trying to make the move on Lars isn't going to make it. He is still behind Lars. And looking behind, everyone has kept their position from the restart by the looks of it. So it's a pretty clean restart. Luckily, as Sven is now overtaken by Hones, Lars, Damiano. Because I think he made a mistake. So Sven now down to P6 once again. And Hones into the podium positions on his old medium tires. Black Box on his fresh medium tires is Kaya. We saw it on the onboard of Black Box. Just got a track limit. And with it a penalty. Damiano alongside Lars, trying to go the outside of the chicane. There's a little bit of contact. He can't make it work. Sven now pushing his ERS, trying to make the move on Damiano. As Black Box now makes a move on Kaya. Oh, there's a little bit of contact between Sven and Damiano, but keeping it clean as of now. And Ferrans outside of the DRS range of Ferrans. Milan outside of the DRS range of Ferrans. Damiano trying to make the move on Lars is now alongside Lars into the Tamburello chicane, and he is ahead. So it's Damiano in P4 from last on the grid on the old medium tires. Good move by the Red Bull driver. And Lars can't get back at him, so he stays behind. As Koen gets a 3-second time penalty. Sven going for an audacious move at the Tosa hairpin. Not able to make the move stick. Looking behind, Black Box trying to gain some more time on these guys on the medium tires. This Kun behind is looking to put some pressure on Black Box. Not able to make a move. And now it's Ferrans well out of the DRS range of Milan. Sven now trying to make the move on Lars, as Lars made the bad exit of the Variante Alta, and Sven now back into P5 on the old soft tires. As the DRS is now enabled, not for the runners on this lap, as Milan goes into the pit lane, losing a lot of positions here, and he's going for a fresh set of the medium walled tires. Black Box on the rear of Lars, trying to make a move. Our championship protagonist in P6, closely followed by Koen in P7. Black Box might want to get a move on here for P7. in the race, P6 in the race. Koen is making a move on Black Box. There's a little bit of contact. Black Box and Koen side by side going to Piratella. How will this work out? He's on the inside. There is more contact. Black Box off the track. He keeps his position, and now Yagizan on the outside of Koen. Koen on the inside for the Aqua Minerale. And Yagizan forced off the track. Keeps his P8 from his teammate Kaya, but Koen trying to make some moves and almost being relegated down a few positions. They kept it reasonably clean, but it's just a hard track to overtake at. And now Ferenc into the pit lane on his soft tires will lose out big time here, because looking at Milan, he's in last position on the grid. Joey now speeding in the pit lane. He has retired from the session as Black Box is into P3 as there's contact between Koen and Lars. Koen trying to get the switchback now on Lars. Is on the inside for the Villeneuve chicane with Black Box into the podium positions. Koen sends one down the inside and is ahead of Lars. And Yagizan trying to get ahead of Lars as well is ahead of Lars. Nice move as Lars now. What happened to Lars? I think he got a really bad exit after the Toza hairpin. Jerry making a move. Kaya making a move. And Lars losing position left, right and center here. As Mika now loses the position to Steph's. Lars is slowing down massively. What is happening to Lars here as there's contact between Davy and Lars? Davy in P10. Janssen in P11. Janssen not able to make the move on Davy. But there was a moment of contact between Davy and Lars. Lars now into P13. And that went from bad to worse from Lars. As cars are still real close here. All having the DRS off of each other. Up until P3, Black Box. Now, Mika is pushing his DRS on Steph. Bit of DRS he has left, only 10% now. Deactivating his DRS as Davy and Janssen are still battling. Janssen is being the one that is holding up Davy. Janssen not letting through Davy for P10 points paying positions. Or championship leader not having a good race up till this point in the race. And looking at the guys who are leading this race, it's Damiano from Holmes from Black Box, and Black Box on the fresh medium tires. So he is the only one of the guys in front not obliged to pit once again. If he can make the mediums work though. And this train is still real close. The gap from P3 up till P9, all within a second, and all having DRS off of each other. And once again going into lap 14. Let's look on board with Koen, because Koen is trying to push some of his ERS. He does not have a lot left, but he is past Black Box. Black Box is relegated down to P4 with 40% of ERS, so he could have defended if he wanted to, but he did not. So Black Box back to P4. Ferenc, meanwhile, setting the fastest lap of the race as Kaya made a mistake. He's into the barrier. Made him reset the track, because I think that that's the only reasonably thing he could have done. Made him reset the track. And still, once again, off track. No! He lost his tire. He has DNF'd from this race. And it's a full safety car once again. Sven heads into the pit lane immediately. So Kaya out. And certainly Damiano and Hones will have to pit for new tires. But which tire would you go to if you are on lap 14 of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix and you have to pit for a different tire compound? Will it be the hards that have absolutely no race pace? Or will it be the medium tires that will oblige you to pit once again? They will go into the pit lane, yeah. Or will they go for the soft tire? As Black Box heads into the pit lane once again. I think he'll go for another set of the medium tires. Yes, he will go for another set of the medium tires. And that might mean for Ferenc that he will be ahead of Blackbox once again when they come out of the pit lane. I think he will be ahead of Blackbox coming out of the pit lane. He is ahead of Blackbox out of the pit lane. Damiano on the hard tires. Hones on the soft tires, so there is a gambler for softs now. And there are a few cars out on track that have gambled for the soft tires. Koen, Janssen and Joey have stayed out on the medium tires, so they are now 1 through 3 in this race. And Ferenc into P4 on his 2-level medium tires. Damiano on the hard tires, as we said, should not have any race pace whatsoever. And then it's Hones on the soft tires. I'm extremely interested in seeing what he can do on those tires. Can he make them last until the end of the race? I think around 15 racing laps have to be done on them, because if we cross the line now, going into lap 16, I don't think the safety car will go in this lap. No, it won't, because not every car at the back of the grid has closed up to the back of the pack. So lap 16 will be a lap on the safety car. Then I guess every car is at the back of the pack at the end of lap 16. So lap 17 will go racing once again, most certainly. And if we'll go racing at lap 17, the softs will have to keep going for around 15 laps. Can Hones make these tires work 15 laps? Same for Jerry van Bussel, Mika and Milan. I think that's a possibility. I think that if these guys can make the softs work, they are onto a banger of a strategy. But at the moment, it's Koen leading the Grand Prix. As once again Lars has pitted. He's on the hardest compound. He's on a hard tire. And that is not the best compound to be on in the race. Damiano is on those hard tires. He's currently P5. I don't think he can keep that position. If we look at the tire behind, soft runner of Hones, as Jerry made contact on the safety car. That means both drivers get a 5-second time penalty. They might send it in the hopes of getting it removed at the end of the race if they won't pit again. So suddenly, after the pit stops, Ferenc is back into P4 and has a real good shot at winning the Grand Prix once again. But Koen, Janssen and Joey will have something to say about that. And looking at Lars behind, he has not closed up to the grid in time. So once again, the field will go around for another lap. And the soft runners will have to keep out on the soft tires a little less. So they will have to use soft tires for 14 laps. And that's only an advantage to them and their tire wear. But let's discuss Joey in P3. Don't think he can keep that position. But still, it's an awesome sight to see Joey in P3. And hopefully he'll score some points today. Never say never, he's in P3 at the moment. He might be able to defend from a few cars behind. As we wait for the final run of the safety car to go round the lap. looking at the penalties, Joey, Koen, Yagizan, Jerry, Sven and Lars all have time penalties. And Lars and Jerry being the only ones that having 5 seconds, the others all having 3 seconds. Now, safety car is in this lap, so looking to the leader, Koen, he can determine the pace in this final sector. We wait for him to go on to the power and lead the field that way. And he's already onto the power, so he is now going to start the laps once again. Start the racing laps once again. And Janssen behind, 7.5 tenths behind. And Joey, 1.5 seconds loss already, as Ferens is now alongside Joey, trying to get him immediately at the restart. Is alongside Joey and is ahead of the Haas driver. And Joey being overtaken left, right and center it seems, because Damiano went to the back of him. And he's now side by side with Damiano. Damiano trying to go around the outside, and he is. And Hones going around the outside as well. Now it's Black Box in P7. Can he go ahead of Joey as well? Not as of yet, but going out of Toza, Joey does not have the acceleration that he might have wanted to. Black Box alongside Joey, and Black Box ahead of Joey. Nice battling from Black Box, as he's now ahead of Joey. And Yagizan and Jerry wanting to get past as well. Joey holds on to the position though. And looking now to the point of view from Joey. Joey will be taken by Yagizan and going around the outside of the Variante Alta, Jerry. Awesome move, Jerry. And it's overtaken left, right and center for Joey. He's already into P10. And overtaken by his teammate. And the Alpine of Mika passed as well. And now it's the subrunner of Milan trying to get past as well. And he's well past. Joey losing 9 positions in the span of 1 lap, as Jerry overtakes Yagizan on track. Jerry on the soft tires has the pace advantage. Can he make a move on the man that's number 2 in the championship now, Black Box? I think he can, because he has shown some good pace here. And he has a faster tire compound, so if he can get the run on Black Box, I'm sure he will want to make the move. Not coming to the Variante of, to Aqua Minerale, because that is not a part of the circuit that he can make the move. As Koen gets a 3-second time penalty. It's still Koen in the lead though, from Janssen and then Ferens. So Ferens not making the move on Janssen as of yet, that we might have expected him to. Let's go on board though with the Ferrari of Ferens. Looking at the rear of the Ferrari of Janssen, Ferens is now pushing his ERS. Janssen is not pushing his ERS. Janssen knows it, and it's a bit of a team game here. Ferens up into P2, chasing down Koen for P1 in this race. And it's Jerry van Bussel up into P6 on the soft tires, now chasing after Damiano, after overtaking Black Box. Can Jerry put on a show for the podium? I think he can. I think Jerry can get a podium here today if his soft tires last all the way to the end of the race. And talking about team games, I think Milan is playing a bit of a team game with Black Box now, because Davy is out of points and Milan is in front of Davy, because if they would have wanted to, Davy can be held up by Milan now. So that's the team game that they can play. Looking at Jerry around the outside now, going into the final corner. Damiano knows it and is overtaken by Jerry. So Jerry up into P5. Oh no, Jerry! Jerry made the mistake! Oh no! He made the mistake after overtaking Damiano and is now out of the race if he retires in the pit lane. Janssen overtaken by Hones. Hones into P3. And Mika, oh no, Steph! Steph also spun around and is now in P12. And Jerry's still in the pit lane, trying to switch to a different tire compound. But a lot of contact here. And a lot of spins, but I think the spin from Jerry was all on his own. Milan not able to get past. Yagizan as Blackbox made a mistake. Mika overtook Blackbox in the Mercedes. Hopefully for Blackbox he does not have damage due to the incident with Jerry. I don't think there was any damage. As Steph now spins it around at Aqua Minerale. Let's look on board with Ferenc, because this is the lead of the race for Koen going here on lap 22. Koen goes towards the inside but is powerless to defend against Ferenc. Ferenc into the lead of the race once again on this fresh medium tire and is now trying to drive away from the pack. Damiano close behind Mika as he got past Blackbox once again. I think Blackbox had damage. I don't think there's any other reason why Blackbox is going this slowly. He's in P7 now. As there's yellow sector 3. Is that Steph into the wall at the pit entry? I think it is. Milan not trying to make the move on Blackbox as of yet. The question is, does Blackbox have any damage? It says yellow sector 2. Yellow sector 2 is at Lars. Lars is round in the Williams as there's a virtual safety car. Virtual safety car once again. As Lars spun around in his Williams, now needs to go back to the pit lane to replace his wing. But there's a virtual safety car. Blackbox. Will he go into the pit lane? That's the question. No, he won't. So probably there's no damage for the Mercedes driver. As Milan does go into the pit lane. Okay, so Milan into the pit lane. And he's putting on a fresh set of soft tires. As in a few seconds time, the virtual safety car will end as Mika and Blackbox overtake each other off the track. I think Mika made a mistake, and if you make a mistake, you cannot overtake the way you are doing, Mika. Oh, what is happening here? Steph and Mika making contact on the restart, but nevertheless, the restart now, Blackbox in P6, and Davey into the points paying positions in P9. Blackbox though, still behind Damiano, the guy that he overtook a few moments ago. Can Blackbox make the move on the Red Bull driver? And that other Red Bull driver of Koen still in the podium positions. He's within the DRS range of Damiano. But the hard timers on the Red Bull are coming alive a little bit more, it seems. Yagizan though is putting Blackbox under pressure here. And is not able to complete the move. It says yellow sector 1. It's the Haas. Oh no, Davey! Davey, our championship leader, now spun around and still within the points being positions. Joey once again in P11. Steph is out. What happened to Steph? Jerry van Bussel sets the fastest lap of the race. Mika making the move on Yagizan. Mika back into P7. Making the move at the Piratella. But a lot of drivers making errors here today. Mika is on the soft compound. So Mika trying to make a move on these soft tires. Does not have a lot of ERS left. as Steph is on the side of the road. What has happened to Steph? Once again spun around at the exit of Toza. Now looking at Damiano, he's on the hard tires, but Janssen powerless to defend, it seems, on the mediums. Damiano making the move for the podium, and now Blackbox is pushing his ERS to the fullest. He is moving towards the inside of Janssen and making it a double overtake on Janssen. Yes, it is a double overtake on Janssen. Blackbox back into P5, and there's a car spun around, and it's Koen. Koen in the Red Bull. He's in P9 now. He spun around at the first corner, the Tamburello chicane. Blackbox is having to defend from Janssen as Mika tries to make the move on Janssen, and Mika is through. Mika through into P5 on the soft tires. And Ferrens now has a lead of 2.1 seconds with Holmes in P2 after the spin of Koen. Koen DNFing on track, probably hit the wall and lost his car. Blackbox in P4, and behind him Mika is pushing as hard as possible. Yellow sector 3, and it's a Haas, I think, of Steph DNFing on track as Lars is in P14, sandwiched by two cars that have DNF'd. Yellow sector 2 once again, and it's an incident between Milan and Joey, I think. What has happened there? Milan and Joey colliding, it seems. Koen has left the session. Milan now far away from Davey, 14.6 seconds, but still in a points paying position. And Joey just a few seconds shy of a points paying position. Looking now to Mika and Blackbox, still they are battling. Mika trying to get a move on the soft tires as Yagizan tries to go to the inside of Janssen. Janssen powerless to defend once again to the Turkish driver. Turkish driver through into P6, and Janssen relegated down to P7. And Sven behind is looking to make the move on Janssen as well. Janssen now going off track at Aqua Minerale and losing the car almost, but keeping it on track. Sven through into P6. Now Janssen is in P8, just behind the Alfa Romeo driver of Sven. Yagizan does not have a lot of ERS to attack Blackbox with. Mika, meanwhile, got past Blackbox, just missed that. But can Blackbox get back at Mika? Mika does not have a lot of ERS left. You can see the lights blinking on his Alpine car. And I think Blackbox can make a move. Not as of yet. But he can make a move when he tries to push his ERS. So if he will make a reasonable attempt at pushing his ERS against Mika, I think he'll be able to get past easily once again. And just remember, the soft tires will be deteriorating towards the end of the race. But it's looking good for Ferrens as Davey once again spun around at the exit of the Villeneuve chicane. And this has become a horrible race for the championship leader. But Ferrens, meanwhile, in the Ferrari, cruising in front. And I think he'll try to set a fastest lap at the Grand Prix. Is he able to succeed? No, he is not able to succeed. He just try to push a bit of his ERS. That let me think. He would try to go for the fastest lap, but he was 8 times slower than before. Sven, behind Yagizan, is pushing for the position. Blackbox is pushing for the position on Mika. There is contact, and Blackbox off the track, cutting the track at the Tamburello chicane. There was contact between him and Mika, and I have to see the onboard. But what happened there exactly? Mika kept hold of P4, but now Sven and Yagizan are right up the back of Mika. And the gap on track might be big between Blackbox and Davey, but the points being positions, there's only 4 points in it at the moment, with the mistake from Black Box or the moment between him and Mika. So it's very close, still within the championship. Black Box is gaining on Davey as it stands. Swans almost loses his car. And Mika not having any ERS left, even Yagizan having more ERS at the moment. So that means as Davey once again spun around, now overtaken by Milan. And now Yagizan trying to make the move on Mika. He is now making the move on Mika. Mika relegated down to P5 on his old soft tires. And Black Box getting closer and closer to these guys once again after going off track at the chicane. Damiano from last on the grid back to P3. An awesome recovery from him still, as Yagizan now relegated down after making a mistake back into P5. Mika once again into P4. So these guys exchanging positions back and forth and back and forth, and now it's Mika once again in P4. Remember though, Black Box does not have any penalties, so the only thing he has to do is keep close with this group of cars, and he might be able to scrap away some points. With that, I mean P4. Sven close to Yagizan. Yagizan close to Mika. Which of these cars can make a move on? Mika is in AI. What has happened to the Alpine driver? Mika is using his AI on track, and now his AI is going into the pit lane. Might that be a connection problem for Mika? Yagizan is pushing all that he can. He does not have a lot of ERS left. So does Sven. And Black Box behind looks at it happening. He is waiting to pounce in just a few moments time. But Yagizan just able to defend against Sven in P5. As Mika is retired in the pit lane. Maybe back into P9. Jari into P10. In a few moments time, Joey will be in P11. Yes, he is now. Lars will be in P12. So can anything between these cars happen now in the final 2/3 laps of the race? Joey is past Jerry after Jerry made a mistake. Joey into the points being positions. Jerry back into P11. It has been a good start to the race for Jerry, but now it has gone from bad to worse for the Alfa Romeo driver. He's on P11, outside of the points paying position, trying to get past the Haas as fast as possible. Ball now retired from the race. Jerry now goes off track as Yagizan is relegated down a position by Sven. So Sven overtook Yagizan on track at the Tamburello chicane. And Black Box behind is looking to get past as well, still. But the only driver really in a league of his own, Ferrens, is dominating this race. So Lars gets 3 seconds worth of time penalties, as now Jerry van Bussel once again passes Joey. As we wait for the final few corners of 31st lap, and now we start the final lap in just a few seconds time. Ferrens is starting the 32nd lap here at Imola. Looking behind, Yagizan has to defend from Black Box. Can he defend from the number 2 in the championship though? He's pushing all of his ERS Black Box. Yagizan is defending for all his might. Can Black Box go towards the inside? He doesn't do it. He let himself see in the mirrors by Yagizan. But Black Box still in P6. Will get P4 though after the penalties have been applied. If Black Box won't get a penalty of his own. And that means he will get 12 points in the championship. Davy only getting 2 points, and that means the championship gap will be reduced by 10 points. And that gives Davy the lead still in the championship by only 8 points. But Ferenc, an awesome race by him. I can't say anything different. He made, at first, a bit of a ridiculous strategy not going in, but he made it work after going in at the second safety car. Ferenc wins in TFL and Holmes gets his podium at Imola. Damiano, though, gets into P2 from the back of the grid after the penalties have been applied, so Holmes into P3, Blackbox in P4, and it's Sven in P5. Jagizon in P6 after a good battle with Blackbox and Sven. Janssen in P7, and it's Milan now getting towards the line for P8. And our championship leader, Davy, I think spun around before the Toza hairpin at this final lap, is going to come home in P9. It's Milan in P8 now. It's P9 for Davy. And P10 will be Jerry van Bussel, the final points being position. As Joey No spun around at the final corners of the race. So Joey is in P12. First time he is in a different position than P11 when he finished the race. If he still finishes the race, yes he does. So a bit of a hectic race here around Imola. And it's won by Ferenc, and of course driver of the day goes to Damiano. An awesome recovery from him. But it's P1 from Ferenc. And then Damiano and Hones completing the podium positions. Hones, awesome race by him. I did not expect him at all to come back to the podium. He has proved me wrong and did an awesome job. Now let's look at the results today once again for the final time. So it's Ferenc in P1, then it's Damiano in P2, Blackbox in P3, Hones in P3, and then Blackbox in P4. Sven in P5, followed by Jagizan, Janssen, Milan, Davy, and Jerry van Bussel, scoring the bonus 2 points with the fast lap as well. Then it's Dera Larsimic in P11, Joey in P12, Mika in P13. And looking back to the rest of the grid, we have Koen with the DNF, followed by Steph, Kaya, Joey, Borrell, Meneer van den Bergen, and those are your finishers. Thank you for watching, and we will go to the interviews now. So it's Ferenc from Damiano and Hones. Let's invite them to the party. So it's Ferenc, Damiano, and Hones. Okay, so we'll invite them to the interview now. Well. Our P2 man, Damiano, has joined the interview, going from P19 on the grid to P2. An awesome recovery by you, Damiano. Congratulations, talk us through it. How was your start? Beginning with your start. How was it? Not having Damiano invited. Hello. Yes, Damiano. Welcome. Yeah. Did you hear my question or not?
No.
Okay, no, let's go again. Man, congratulations going from the back of the grid to P2. Awesome race. What happened at the start? And talk us through the rest of the race, the strategy.
I had a quite good start, but I had a collision with Sven. So Then they can safety car came because of the crash,
Yeah.
and I didn't pit because the soft runners did pit, and I was on the mediums. And then there came another safety car, and then a lot of people was going on the soft, but soft is hard. You saw on the end of the race they were falling off, and
Yeah.
the only choice was to go to the hards.
And the hard tires, the race pace of the hard tires, did they was the pace good enough for you to hold on to the position you had, or did you have to push everything out of it?
Wow. The first 3 laps it was tricky because the tires were so cold. But after that, I had a lot of EOS left and pushed everything.
Yeah. Well, I for one did not think the hard tires would hold on, but you made them work, and you came home P2 from P19 on the grid. I think that's one of the best results I've seen in TFL. Congratulations to you. Ferens and Hones aren't joining, it seems. So congratulations, Damiano, and we'll see you, everyone, once again at the next track, and that will be round 11 of the championship. Tune in next time. The gap at the top of the championship at this moment, 8 points, so it can't get any closer than it is now. Tune in next time, and we'll see you once again. Bye, everyone. God, stop podcasts. Yes.